And I think that the Americans just don't quite realize that, Vladimir, stop. The Russians will just be looking and rolling their eyes, thinking, do we have to do business with this guy?
In particular, as a former correspondent in Moscow, you will have views on Steve Witkoff arriving in Moscow's for talks with Vladimir Putin. I mean, I saw the Trump tweet, as it were, on Truth Social, Vladimir, stop. And in just 2 words, made me want to retch. Using Vladimir as though they're sort of bosom friends. And then this sort of slightly pathetic stop. I mean, Trump is being completely outmanoeuvred.
Totally. So are all his various acolytes who are being sent here and there with messages to give to Russia, warnings, sticks to wave at them, things like that. The Russians are playing them like absolute patsies. They just don't seem to realize. Look at the past. Look at how Putin has operated. Look at how he's outmaneuvered so many others. The guy's got 25 years experience of running a country. He has KGB experience about how to subvert others. He knows everything about how to manipulate facts, people, things, agendas. And he's also not averse to telling the odd lie here or there. And I think that the Americans just don't quite realize that, Vladimir, stop. The Russians will just be looking and rolling their eyes, thinking, do we have to do business with this guy?
It is grotesque, isn't it, Sarah Vine? I hadn't realised that the painting that Trump put up in the Oval Office replacing Barack Obama in the White House of him surviving the assassination attempt had been painted by a Russian artist and given to him by Vladimir Putin. I mean, this cozying up to Putin, I couldn't have imagined in my worst nightmare.
Well, I mean, also, it won't, as Binyon says, it won't work because Putin is playing a completely different game. I mean, and Trump just comes across as just such an amateur in this respect. You're up against somebody who, as Binyon says, has been there for 25 years. He's survived an awful lot. He wasn't born yesterday, and Trump's style of slightly weird, chummy, everything with Trump is always about himself. It's just so narcissistic. He's just such a massive, massive self-obsessed person. And, so he everything is to do with, are you my mate? Are you not my mate? And so, as you say, calling him Vladimir, it's just childish. He's outclassed, I think, and probably outmaneuvered.
I mean, I have to say, one of my dinner party lines at my middle-class West London dinner parties for the last few months has been that Trump will seek a 3rd term. And I see that he's now putting out Trump 2028 hats. Is this Trump winding people up, or is he serious, Sarah Vine, do you think?
Both, I should think, probably. I think he probably is serious. I think he's deluded enough to think that he can do a 3rd term. I mean, he could, it would be unprecedented, and I think it would be, similar to the stunt that he pulled, when he lost to Biden, storming the Capitol Hill and all that kind of stuff with his crazy people. But I don't think I put it past him, and I think he enjoys both winding people up and subverting democracy.
Michael Binyon, let's briefly go back to this trip to Moscow. I saw on Twitter earlier this morning that there had been a car bomb explosion in Moscow. It turns out that a senior Russian general has been killed in this car bomb attack. It's just been confirmed by the Russian authorities. General Yaroslav Moskalik, the latest Russian military commander or pro-Kremlin figure believed to have been targeted by Ukrainians inside Russia. Now, this is breaking news, but also a pattern. I mean, the Russians bombed Kyiv yesterday. Their strategy is to indiscriminately kill civilians. The Ukrainians, how can I put this delicately, have been very good at knocking off key leaders in the Russian military. And this is another example.
They have, yes. There was a bomb put on a bicycle outside an apartment block which killed 2 senior people only about a couple of months ago. And the Ukrainians clearly have a network of agents within Russia who are lying low, who haven't been caught yet. One wonders, it's quite surprising, actually, that the Russians haven't been able to forestall these sort of attacks because they must have a pretty comprehensive network on their radar of who which Ukrainians are there, which Ukrainians sympathize are there, what they're up to. I mean, they know what everybody is doing. But you're right. I mean, the Ukrainians have been quite effective in targeting various senior military figures. I don't think assassination is a legitimate act of war, but then I don't think war is legitimate either. I mean, it's a fact that people knock other people off in revenge, and the Russians, there's a bit of a pattern here. They bomb civilians, and then one of their agents is targeted to try to find a senior general who might be responsible.
And of course, the depressing thing, Sarah Vine, is we don't know how Donald Trump will react to this assassination. Will he condemn the Ukrainians?
There's no way of knowing because the man is completely random. He'll just wake up and decide. I mean, he's like a weather vane. He doesn't, there's no way of predicting what he will do, but you just know it probably won't be very helpful.
And it's time for us to benefit also. And we want to end that war. We want to end it quickly. And I think we've made a lot of progress. And we'll see what happens. This next few days is going to be very important. Meetings are taking place right now. I'd be happy if he did. And it was only when I got out, and when you mentioned what happened, and then I looked at and I see the results. It's horrible. It's a killing field. 5,000 soldiers a week, on average, and we want to stop that. We both want to stop that for a lot of reasons, but I would say that is my number one reason. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Mr. President, this morning in a Truth Social post, you used the words, Vladimir, stop. That seemed like a slightly different message, a personal message. What is your level of frustration with President Putin?
I didn't like last night. I wasn't happy with it. And we're in the midst of talking peace, and missiles were fired. And I was not happy with it. That's what I meant, and that's, what it said. Things, I will say. But that one is well on its way. We could have a very, very good decision, and no idea what pressure I'm putting on Russia. We're putting a lot of pressure.
Can you maybe tell us that?
We're putting a lot of pressure on Russia, and Russia knows that, and some people that are close to it know, or he wouldn't be talking right now. The Prime Minister understands that better than anybody. He wouldn't be talking right now. He's talking, and we're putting a lot of pressure. I think he wants to make a deal. We're going to find out very soon, but it takes two to tango. And you have to have Ukraine want to make a deal too, and they're being hit very hard, and I do believe they want to make a deal.
Mr. President.
I don't know that you can ever say there's going to be a winner to this because so many lives have been lost.
First of all, what was put before our partners was options to discuss about things that it would take to end a war. This war is endable. Both sides just have to agree to it. We've shown them a pathway forward. We've discussed those ideas. It was a good meeting yesterday. There'll be good meetings over the weekend. We've shown them the finish line. We need both of them to say yes. But what happened last night with those missile strikes should remind everybody of why this war needs to end. It's horrible those missiles landed.
Zelensky has said that he wants more Patriot missiles. So far, has been no response from the United States.
A lot of pressure on both. If you think we're just in there because we're nice people, and we are nice people, but we're using a lot of pressure on both.
What concessions, Mr. President, and to your national security team, what concessions has Russia offered up thus far to get to the point where you're closer to peace?
Stopping the war, stopping taking the whole country. Pretty big concession. He's right here.
But do you still agree that Ukraine have to give some territory away to win peace?
Well, it depends what territory. They've been fighting. They've lost a lot of territory. We'll do the best we can. Working with Ukraine, we'll do the best we can. But they lost a lot of territory. When you say Crimea, that was handed over during a president named Barack Hussein Obama. That had nothing to do with me, Crimea. That was 11 years ago with Obama. And they made a decision. There wasn't a bullet fired. There was no fighting. There was no anything. They just handed it over. Now they say, well, can you get it back? I think that's going to be a very difficult thing to do. That was given by Barack Obama when he was president, not by...
Mr. President, can I say that to move towards an end of this war, U.S. engagement is critical, and President Trump made that possible. That is clear. That is obvious. It's really happening. Now, the important thing is that both parties have to know that they have to deliver, and they have to feel the pressure to deliver. Ukraine is under attack.
They are defending themselves. Lives are being lost. And we believe very firmly that there needs to be a ceasefire, the initiative taken by the US some time ago. It needs to be respected. And then to move on to something which both parties can own. That is the complicated part.
This is a war that Biden was president when this war happened, but I'm trying to put out the fire, and I think we'll be successful. And if we do, we're going to save a lot of lives. He's been a great general, frankly. It was because that's what you